and welcome to the Inner Game of Entrepreneurship podcast. I'm your host, Sarah, and I am so excited to share today's episode with you because this is a conversation between me and Crystal the Oracle. If you are not familiar with Crystal the Oracle, she was a guest on this show maybe a year or more ago, back when we were Elemental Entrepreneurship Podcast. And my episode with Crystal is one of the most downloaded and most listened to episodes of this show. Crystal is a true delight, and she has been hosting a series of conversations on her Instagram called Chakra Conversations. And she invited me to speak on the Sacral Chakra, and I was honored. And she gives her reasons for why she chose me in the interview. I won't go too much into it, but I was very honored that she felt that I was the most embodied choice for who would come in to speak on the Sacral Chakra. And we had a really beautiful and I believe timely conversation. So I will be linking all of the other chakra conversations that Crystal has on her channel in the show notes. So if you want to go hear all of the others, they will be linked. But before we get into the show, what I wanted to share with you, and the reason I say this is so timely, is because if you are on my email or you follow my Instagram, you know that I have a brand new program that is in pre-sale right now that is called Sacral Sales. And the Sacral Sales program, it's a business program, quote unquote, but it is really a life-changing, deeply personally healing program that will change your sales and it will change your business, but it is about approaching sales and business through the lens of the sacral chakra, which I believe is primarily about pleasure and boundaries. And there are so many ways that pleasure and boundaries can either make or break your relationship with sales and money, and can either make or break your business. And I really deeply believe this. And this program is something that I created for myself. And I'm going to be telling the story of how I created this program and how I put myself through the program as an experiment and what happened when I did on a future episode that is coming up pretty soon. But it was nothing short of miraculous. If you are a person who struggles with selling in your business, if you struggle with pricing, if you struggle with quote unquote asking for money and you feel like when you sell you are asking for money or that people are doing you a favor, if you have a tendency to underprice your work, if you have a chronic position of being under earning and overworking, if you have a tendency to take clients who are misaligned because you feel like you desperately need the money and you can't say no to sales, if you avoid launching and selling altogether because you feel like it's dangerous to be visible and to be perceived, if you struggle with receiving in your life and you are hyper independent and you don't want to let anyone give to you or take care of you, all of these things are about sacral imbalance. And you may be a person who's done a lot of money mindset work and a lot of business strategy work. But if you keep finding yourself in these cycles, then my suggestion is that there is an embodiment component that is missing, a sacral healing component that is missing from your healing and integration. And that when you address this on a sacral embodiment level, you will see a shift and a different level of results in your business that you have never seen before. So a lot of the work in this program doesn't exactly feel like business work directly, but the impact it will have on your life and the impact that it will have on your sales and the impact that it will have in your business is truly profound. So this conversation is just kind of a primer for the sacral chakra and my relationship to it and what I believe about it. And if this work sounds important to you and you're listening to this going, oh, shoot, that might be the missing piece for me, Sacral Sales is currently in pre-sale. And by pre-sale, what I mean is the program is not officially launched yet. People who are signing up have not received anything yet, though I am starting to upload program material this week. It is $98 off right now. The price is going to go up when I officially drop the sales page in the next few weeks. So if you are interested in this work, I highly recommend you get it now. I believe it's $199 right now. And I will drop the program link with the coupon code attached to it in the show notes. Also, in this interview with Crystal, I mentioned 2 other programs that I've created that are really designed to help those who struggle with boundaries. One is called The Art of Saying Yes Less, and that is a personal development life coaching program on boundaries. And the other is Boundaries for Business Owners. Both are incredibly valuable and helpful, but Art of Saying Yes Less is not business focused. It's really whole life focused. Boundaries for Business Owners is a 2 to 3 hour masterclass that is very focused on the specific types of boundary work that are essential for business owners, especially business owners who are doing business online and have a personal brand. Both of those programs are pay what you can starting at $1. So you can grab both of those and I will link those in the show notes as well. So without further ado, please enjoy this beautiful conversation about the sacral chakra, pleasure, and boundaries with Crystal the Oracle.
We are in the final chakra conversation. And I have been so excited to get to this one because who else? First of all, who else? Wait a minute. I have to talk through this real quick. The thought process, because I think I say it all the time, but when people talk about the chakras, they want to start at the crown and go to the root, or they want to start at the root and go to the crown. We started at the solar plexus, the seat of the I am. Who am I? Who the fuck am I is what just came to my channel, right? Who am I? How do I show up? Who do I enable myself to be? How do I walk through the world, right? And then we let that energy spill into our heart. Can I embrace that? Can I be good with who that is? Can I be, or am I unstuck? Or am I stuck? Can I be unstuck? Can I be untethered from expectations and just be myself, right? And then we went into our throat. Can I know and speak my authentic truth, right? Can I bring forth into the world in a tangible way through my sound waves what's happening, what has happened in my identity and my heart? And then we talked through third eye crown. Can I trust that all that is, that source energy, that the universe is here with me, has my back? And then root, can I embody that? Can I live in the way, right, that shows that I know for sure that source has me, right? And then we get to what I find is probably the most important and often the most balanced and the most attacked of the chakras, right? Sacral. If all of that is in alignment, and if the energy is flowing through all of the chakras in the right way, right? Sacral. Can I want what I want? Can I be real about what I desire? Can I indulge my desires? And it's so fascinating to me because I really think the meaning of life is experiencing. You know, we are not human beings having spiritual experiences. We're spirit beings having a human experience. And so the entire reason why we're here is for the sensory experience of this thing and hopefully the pleasure of that sensory experience, right? We want to lean more. Even the contrast of the pain of it is all for the pleasure of it so that we can identify, right, the pleasure of it. And all of that, in my mind, is embodied in the sacral chakra. And it's not anybody. Embodies the sacral chakra. Like I said, I have a whole chakra course. People can learn all of it, but there's not anything like really just seeing somebody alive in a certain energy. And that is you, Sarah, of Intuitive Edge Coaching. She is a dancer and a burlesque mama. Can we call it burlesque? What is
Oh
it?
no, I'm a straight up stripper.
She's a stripper. She's a
Ain't no burlesque. That's an art form, and I respect it. I have never studied it. I shake my ass
it's
on
not
people for
that.
money.
So she's a listen. She's a straight up stripper, which I love. But also like a business coach and practitioner. Like Sarah, tell everybody how much I love you, because you know.
We have a real special relationship. I think what I want to tell everybody is that Crystal and I had never met in person. I have worked with her. I like hired her when I was like, what is happening with my life? And then we were both in Las Vegas, but we didn't know we were both going to be in Las Vegas. And we were at a big old conference, and I heard her voice. She raised her hand and asked a question, and I did not see her face. Across the room, I heard her voice, and I was like, Crystal's here. And I hunted her down through the crowd, and then I went and stood and waited until she saw me. And then we squealed and hugged each other and jumped up and down. That's my favorite Crystal moment. And I literally cried. Like, got tears from hugging you. I was like, what divine magic has brought us together? So it's a special thing.
It is.
And yeah, I mean, if you want to jump right in, we can jump right in, because the Sacral Chakra is also my favorite, and it is the place I try to live my life from, and it is the North Star of my choice making in my business.
Right.
Because for me, living balanced in your sacral is about pleasure and boundaries.
Yes.
And that boundaries
pleasure and boundaries, right?
Mm-hmm. Because
okay,
it's about relationships. It's like, how do I, right? So boundaries in terms of what do I allow in and what do I keep out, right? Do I deny myself pleasure and keep the good things out and the bad things in, aka reverse boundary function, also known as a trap? Lots of people don't have boundaries, they have traps. They keep the bad things in and the good things out with their choices. Or do I let a lot of good things in but keep none of them for myself and like pass them out, right? Because it's the chakra of water. If there's no boundaries around water, it's going to evaporate. You just letting it all flow right out again. You have to hold some of it. And I think it's also one of the most complicated to navigate, because you can work on and align all the other chakras, but the root and the sacral have an added complication because we live in the West in a puritanical society that is both pleasure obsessed and pleasure negative, and sex obsessed and sex negative. And most people have sexual trauma. And so if we're not processing the ways that our boundaries have been trespassed in our life, we're going to have a really hard time balancing that chakra and like get to healing our relationship with pleasure. And it's not a one-time thing. That's an ongoing thing, because we're in a culture that's constantly telling us to want a lot of things, especially a lot of instant gratification pleasures that aren't very good for us, and then shames us for wanting things at the same time.
So I'm going to jump in here. So you said you're in a culture that feeds us, especially capitalism, right? Feeds us toward desire and wanting, and simultaneously shames us for what we desire and want. I got to go back though, because you gave the best definition of the sacral chakra. Balance in the sacral chakra is about pleasure and boundaries, but the way you figure that out is, what am I allowing in and what am I keeping out? And we would think, right, in our logical knowers, we would say, oh, I allow in the good things and I keep out the bad things. But
you allow in the things you subconsciously believe you deserve.
You allow in the things you subconsciously believe will keep you the safest. Yeah. 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 I saw this wonderful thing. Oh, there's this creator that he's like so passionate and he's good. He's like that's how his content is, but he's so smart. He's this dot cipher, and he did this whole thing on the trap of deserve. That the idea of I deserve, right, separates us from the understanding that we are. So like, go ahead.
And we can't talk about pleasure and boundaries without talking about people's relationship to the concept of deserving and worthiness, because that becomes the basis for which we allow ourselves to experience pleasure. Do I deserve it? Have I earned it? Right? You don't have to earn it. It's your birthright. You came here to have a body so that you could experience things. It is your birthright to experience everything that this little meat sack has to offer for as long as you get to ride around in it.
Yeah.
But we really complicated ourselves with the idea of deservingness and worthiness.
Because it is our subconscious way of keeping out or not allowing, right, certain things that maybe disconnect us from the self that we know well. But the thing is, the self that you know really well wasn't the self necessarily that you choose. So, you know me, I'm always talking about choices, right? And the sacral chakra, I desire, right? It's so beautiful to transition from I deserve to I desire. And even saying aloud, like I desire, right? And recognizing that you are allowed to name desires and what probably you desire from about 26 births from 26 was something that was handed to you, something you were told to want and not what you actually want. And so like, go ahead.
No, you go.
So I was going to say the embodiment of the sacral chakra is waking up to that fact to go, holy shit, this life that I have, right? This life that I'm living, because we're talking about the lower chakras, we're talking about physical reality at this point. Root is what do I have, right? And sacral is what do I want to have, right? Right? And so you look around at your actual life and it's like, well, what do I want now that I find myself here? Right?
And what do I want? Right? I mean, even if we want to tie it into the upper chakras and say, okay, you want to manifest, you want to call things in. And if we're going to go by the like traditional manifestation formula of just ask, believe, receive, it seems so simple, but you ask for the things you believe you can have. And it makes me want to cry because when I think about the cultivation of our relationship with desire, like, I don't know if any of y'all listening had to whoop your ass before you go in the grocery store so you don't ask for nothing, mama, but I did. like the smack before you go in the store that's like, don't even ask for nothing. You go into the grocery store like, I didn't even say anything, right? And so like, you reach for the candy and your hand gets smacked, and you reach for the candy and your hand gets smacked, and eventually you stop reaching for the candy and you start self-policing and you tell yourself, don't do that. Be good. Right? Control your impulses. Don't let anybody see your wants. Your wants are bad. Your wants are too big. Your wants are too much. And so as a coach, and I'm sure you get this too, I'll have people who come in to work with me and I'm starting with, okay, where are we going? What do we want? And I'll hear people smack their own hand in the statement of the desire. I want 150,000 followers, but I probably won't get that, so I would settle for 30,000. I want to make $1 million a year, but that's probably not realistic, so I would take 20K months, right? Like the self-policing of the desire. They're smacking their own hand before they can reach. That is a sacral imbalance. That is a embodiment problem of your desires.
Sarah, keep talking. Keep talking.
I see some
your own people don't understand. Like I said, before you, if you have never consciously asked yourself the question, what is it that I actually want? And this is why I am always flying here, there, and everywhere. I maybe travel more than most folks.
You are always somewhere.
I'm always somewhere. Like, I literally have tried new things days with my kids because, like you said, it's very hard to want something that you've never seen, right? And so you don't even know that you're aiming low because you're aiming as high as you've ever known. And even in that, you are settling. And what the most delicious thing that I've channeled in the last 12 months was when I asked source somebody, I posted something and somebody called me the devil. They said, "Oh, this is the devil." Over on
That's my
Facebook.
phrase. The devil's a
Yeah,
very important angel.
very important angel, right? So they were like, "This is the devil," and I go, "Huh? Okay, this is the devil. Okay, I'm okay with this archetype." And then so I asked Source. They said, "Source, is there such thing as the devil?" Because I'm gonna go ask Source. Is there such thing as the devil? And Source said this. Source said, and this is like the most amazing thing that I've channeled probably in the last 12 months. Source said, if there is a such thing as the energy that you call the devil, it is settling.
Oof.
The energy of settling is the
Run for
energy that
that.
you call the devil. And so then Source started running me through the sayings that we have about the devil. The devil is in the details. It's in the details that we settle, right? It's better to have a devil you know than a devil you don't. It's better to settle for what you know, right? Than to settle. So there's all of these ways that we're convincing ourselves that what's in our hand is all we can have. And again, I think it goes back to that childhood grocery store experience. Before you get in the store, is don't even ask for nothing. If you get all the way through it, controlling your impulses, not asking, then maybe when you got to the register, they'll let you pick one thing. And if you picked that one thing, oh, that's it. That's what you asked for. That's what you get. You ask for that popsicle, you're going to eat the whole thing. You asked to go to this situation, you're going to sit through the whole thing. They didn't give our nervous systems a model for choosing and changing, right?
Mm-hmm.
For choosing and then making a new choice, and all of those desires being welcomed. And so then we get all the way to adulthood and we think either we can't have it or we're going to get our hands smacked, or we think it.
Oh no, you froze.
And all of that is that sacral stuff that's just imbalanced.
And I think a thing that we end up subconsciously picking up on in that hand smacking is that our desires actually hurt people we care about. Like
Ooh.
my mom is mad at me because she can't afford to buy me candy. And when I ask her, she's mad because she's mad at herself. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't have the language for that, but I feel that. And when I ask her for something she can't give me, there's pain there. And the only way she knows how to deal with that pain is by telling me, don't want anything. It's not
Mm.
because she's uncomfortable with my desire for me. She's uncomfortable with what my desire means about her.
Mm-hmm.
And we internalize that. And I think, especially for empathic, sensitive, um, telepathic, clairsentient, like all the clairs, all the sensitive folks, and sensitive folks who have had boundary trespass against us, against our bodies, or against our emotional boundaries, our physical boundaries, our property boundaries, right? We know so deeply the pain of having our no disregarded, having someone push our boundaries, having someone coerce us, having someone
Mm-hmm.
try to talk us out of our no. And we never want to do that to anybody else. We don't want to hurt anybody, right? Like this is what I see in sales. And when I'm teaching sales, I'm teaching it through the language of the sacral. This idea that like sales equals coercion is also the same thing as sex equals coercion, because in our culture, right, sales is taught the same way pickup artistry is taught. How do you
Yeah.
talk someone out of their no? How do you convince someone to give you something they don't want to give you? How do you overcome people's objections? How do you keep going when they say no, right? And we all are like, ew, like that hurts me when it happens to me. I don't want to do that to anybody. And so in our desire to be sensitive and empathetic and not take up too much space and not hurt anyone with our desires, we end up self-policing are
Yeah.
asks and thinking I'm
Yeah.
asking for too much. That like that pleasure or money or opportunities or experiences are like pie. And if I have too much, there's less for somebody else. But it's not like that at all. Like there's an infinite supply of love
Yes.
and pleasure, enjoyment on the planet. And you having more is not going to hurt anybody. You're
Right.
not going to become an extractive, coercive person if you own your own desires. You're not going to hurt somebody with what you want.
Right. Oh, this is so good. Okay, wait. I'm going to press this question box because it says it's got 9 folks in here. Oh, maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know why it says that. Okay, we got 1, but I'm not answering.
Is it a question about how they can get our phone numbers?
So whenever you're in the room, Sarah, that's always a question when you're in the room. Oh, you'll never imagine. Don't get into a pool in Las Vegas with Sarah.
We got free hookah. That was fun.
Okay, nothing more. Nothing more. Okay. So if we're talking about sacral embodiment, and somebody is like, "Oh my goodness, I am saying no to myself a lot." And by the way, when somebody asks me what's the first step to healing your nervous system, I say the very first step to healing your nervous system is saying yes to yourself more. Saying yes to yourself as much as possible in all the small ways. So a lot of times we'll be like, I need to use the bathroom, but I'm not going to use the bathroom until I finish sending this email. And your nervous system gets the clue, we aren't safe. So it's like, if you need to use the bathroom, get up and use the bathroom. If you're thirsty, go get something to drink. If you're hungry, eat. If you have an impulse for guac on your Chipotle, get the guac. Like, say yes to yourself as much as possible and start clocking how many no's you actually say to yourself during the day. Because it's almost constant until you start really bringing your awareness to it. What happened to your
There's
cat?
a fly and my cat is hunting it. She just like left. There's a bug. Okay, we might get cat acrobatics.
She's gonna get it. Okay, so what would be your first clue, first tip? I want my sacral more balanced. What's the first thing that I do?
I would say yes to yourself more and say no to other people more. That would be my add-on. How many times a day are you saying yes to things you don't actually want to say yes to out of obligation? Yeah. Because if we're talking about pleasure and boundaries, we're talking about receiving, right? What is my relationship to receiving? How much pleasure can I allow myself to have before I'm uncomfortable, before I think it's too much? How much money can I have before I allow myself? Like, how many people do you hear say that, like, when things start getting too good, they start bracing, right? They're looking for another shoe to drop. Their capacity to hold good has been trained to be limited, right? So
can we talk about that real quick? Yeah. So everybody's nervous system has something called a window of tolerance, right? And your window of tolerance is trained over time by your experiences. So those of us who often have had more traumatic past histories, basically everybody that follows me, right? Your window of tolerance for trauma has been trained to be very wide. You've got the ability to navigate a wide range of fuck shit, right? But your window of capacity for joy, for pleasure, for your desires, for things going right hasn't been bumped up against often enough by what's going on in your experiences, and also by the no's that you're giving yourself, or like those preemptive hand slaps to your desire. You haven't stretched your window of tolerance for pleasure or joy, so you bump up against it faster. And then what I call, that's the definition of self-sabotage for me, right? When you go into fight or flight in response to getting what you want, right? That's self-sabotage. And that's why I went viral, I guess maybe last year, because I said you're not healing to handle more trauma. You're used to trauma. You're healing to handle joy. So, I mean, that's what Sarah's talking about, right? Saying yes to yourself and saying no to other people, no to the things that you don't actually want to do as much as possible. right? Okay, now keep
Yeah.
talking.
And I was going to say, I think that ties back to what we were saying at the very beginning. Oh no, did I lose it? Come back, thought. Don't go. I need you. Come on.
It's me. I interrupted you. What you were telling us was your top tips to embodying the sacral, to start balancing
Window
the
of
sacral.
tolerance. We were talking about the sacral and like what we allow in being defined by what we subconsciously believe is safe and what we subconsciously believe we deserve. If the majority of your life experiences have been about lack and denial and getting by with less, that is where you are tolerant, right? That is what feels safe and comfortable. And so people think they want more good things, but they don't realize how uncomfortable it is for them to hold. And one of my favorite things to tell people, myself included, is you can't outperform your self-concept. If your self-concept is that you are a person who never has good things, if your self-concept is every time things go good for me, bad things follow, if your self-concept is nothing ever works out for me, if your self-concept is my income is always capped at this level, if your self-concept is I'm the person who always gets left in romantic relationships, I'm the person who always attracts narcissists, right? Like whatever it is you believe about yourself, you can't outperform that. So you're going to have to expand your self-concept alongside
Mm-hmm.
your receptivity to more. I am a
Mm-hmm.
person, one of my big ones that I started, I would say in like 2016, is I'm a woman who takes exquisite care of herself
Yeah.
as a self-concept. Because to me, the idea of exquisite care
Yeah.
was such an expansion. That's not what I witnessed. I did not have a mother who took exquisite care of herself. And I was realizing in my adult life that I came last on my list, right? And then I had to sit down and think about what my mother modeled for me, bless her heart, in terms of her priorities, not what she said, but what she showed in her behavior. My mom is the kind of person who would wake up, throw on a robe, put her hair up in a bun, make a pot of coffee, sit down on the couch and start working, not eat anything until 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and then like throw a microwave burrito in the microwave and eat that. The house is messy. Like she does not care. She is working. She is making money. She is
Wait a
focused.
minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I might be your mom. Like,
And so when I was like, how come I can't stick to a morning routine? How come
mm-hmm.
I don't like getting ready in the morning and like putting clothes on and doing my hair and putting makeup on? Like that wasn't modeled for me. How come I feel
Mm-hmm.
really uncomfortable spending money to get my nails done? How come I don't
Mm-hmm.
feed myself well? That I did
Mm-hmm.
not grow up with models of a woman who took exquisite care of herself. That was not myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to shift there and then expand my definition. Okay, so what does exquisite care look like to me? That
Yes.
can inform my behaviors. And then I have to notice all the ways that giving myself that makes me really uncomfortable. And then I
Yes.
have to work through that discomfort. And
Yeah.
then I have to make that normal. And then I can expand the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.
Yes. And I want to, when we talk about sacral and we talk about the embodiment of what that energy is, I am a woman who takes exquisite care of herself. That's really beautiful in the way that Sarah described. And that was the reconditioning that Sarah needed to do. Mine is a little bit the opposite. I grew up with parents who were drill sergeants. And so the only way you were acceptable was if you had put this together and you had done this and your bed was tucked and you ta, 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 ta. So for me, the reclamation of the energy was I'll show up in a row. I am acceptable however I enter the world in every instance, in every circumstances. I'm acceptable just as I come, right? And so it really is tapping into your sacral chakra and going, what is my true desire for real? Is it what am I allowing in and what am I keeping out? Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
very good. You
And how
can't outperform your self-concept.
isn't that one brutal? It's so good.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, yeah. Isn't that one brutal?
Okay.
It's so good.
Yes, it's so.
It's so mean.
And so inversely, would you be able to extrapolate that how you're performing aligns with your self-concept?
Absolutely. I would also say that if you are ever curious about the level at which you manifest or what you believe you are worthy of and what you believe you deserve, you just have to look at the material conditions of your life.
Oh, that's it. That's the law of correspondence.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you're living in it right now. If you're curious about where you're manifesting, like what's happening, you're living in it right now. Like if you're curious about how it's going with your manifestations around relationships, look at the state of your relationships, right? Like, gotta tap in there. For people who are listening who might be on the like codependent or chronic people pleaser side, I guess like to
Mm-hmm.
me, we have to touch on that because codependence is, I think, really misunderstood. And codependence is the logical outcome of growing up in a family where there was alcoholism, addiction, abuse, or abandonment, which is the majority of adults I know.
Yeah.
And for a child brain, abandonment can be incarceration, it can be death, it can be parent in the military, it can be parent with a traveling job. Like, we don't understand why parent is gone. So alcoholism, addiction, abuse, abandonment, any of those things create codependency.
Yeah.
A lot of us are codependent.
Yeah. Define it.
Codependence is the attempt to regulate your own nervous system through other people's emotions.
Yes. The attempt to regulate your own nervous system through other people's emotions or opinions necessarily of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And we don't even know their opinions of us most of the time. We're making them up.
We're making them up. We're always making them up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, right, codependence is its own form of addiction. We're addicted to other people. We're addicted to what other people think and feel. And we're trying to control what other people think and feel to make ourselves safe. And this makes perfect sense, right, for childhood. And it just makes a terrible strategy for adulthood. And so starting to say no to other people more is going to produce a nervous system reaction. Like, you will experience a fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. I am actually in danger level reaction.
Yeah.
If you have spent your life saying yes to people as a strategy to receive like love, acceptance, and belonging, it's going to be really scary at the beginning. Mm-hmm. And I think when we're talking about pleasure and boundaries, something that took me a really long time to figure out is that like the things you are a no to are just as valuable and important parts of information about who you are as the things that you are a yes to. Right? Like if I love somebody and I'm their friend, I don't want to just know their favorite food. I want to know the foods they hate.
Yeah.
I don't just want to know the movies you like. I want to know the movies you hate. I don't just want to know like the things you love. I want to know your pet peeves. I want to know all of these things about you because they all make up who you are. And when we are afraid to show people our no, we are depriving people the opportunity of getting to know us. And also we create like really lonely relationships for ourselves because we don't believe that we would be loved if we were known. And that to me is all sacral stuff too.
Yep. Right? Because when you're talking about the sacral chakra, you're directly talking about connecting with other people, right? There's the big glaring, like bumping private part of sacral chakra connecting, but it is all of the connecting that we do or opt out of doing with other folks.
Yeah.
It's such an interesting thing, people pleasing, because the cure, the practice of conditioning yourself out of people pleasing, right? Your trauma responses are going to come online 300 times faster than your conscious mind. And so if you have patterns of codependency or people pleasing, you are going to enact those patterns 300 times faster than you're able to think about what your yes or your no is. So a lot of times you've said yes and you're going along and then you feel in your body, in your gut, right, down near your sacral, that you're like, it's actually a no.
There's a flag.
Flying cats, watch your flying cats. So you can feel in your body that it's a no, but you're already into the yes. And so part of the repatterning, right, is the excruciating process of going back to the person and saying, oh, I initially said yes, but actually I initially said I would, but actually I don't have the, I initially said but actually, and you really get to set up your life. And it's such a excruciating process, but also a beautiful one. Because when you start doing it, you get to see in a very concrete way who really loves you and who was only there because you were chronically saying yes. So it's like built into the process that you get to see firsthand who honors and even relishes in your nose or in your boundaries, right? And sometimes it's painful because it's oftentimes very few people around you. But sometimes you can keep, some folks, and it's such a beautiful thing to be able to say no to someone and then receive the disconfirming experience like, wow, I didn't die. They didn't leave, right? I didn't get my hand smacked, right? It's such a gorgeous thing.
And when we talk about healing, and when we talk about repatterning, that's what we're talking about. It's like excruciating social experiences. It's not comfortable. It's not fun.
Mm-hmm.
I have anybody who's listening who wants this, and I'll send you the links too if you want this, DM me. But I have a course called The Art of Saying Yes Less and another one called Boundaries for Business Owners, and they're both pay what you want. You can get them for $1. But in The Art of Saying Yes Less, there is a program that I offer people that I had to take myself through that I call the Yes Detox Plan. Which is just that for an entire month, you're only allowed to say maybe to every single request that anyone makes of you. And you have to go privately decide. If you can give it an overnight, you give it an overnight. If you have to give it an hour, you give it an hour. If they're like, this is urgent, you give it 5 minutes, but you never say yes in the conversation. You always say, I have to check my schedule. Let me get back to you. And then there are entire written out scripts for what you say if you have to say no. And like if it's an if then, like if it's I'm afraid to say no because I don't want this person to not ask me again, but I can't do this thing. Here's how you say no in a way that conveys that you're open to future opportunity, like full on scripts for saying no for when you circle back. So you can grab that for $1. But if you are struggling with that, I highly recommend you do at least a month of Yes Detox.
Yes, detox. You aren't allowed to say yes. You're only allowed to say maybe.
Or no, with both of them. Just say maybe to every single thing.
Yeah.
And give yourself.
And then you decide if you're going to say yes or no. Initially, you can only say maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or no.
And give
I love this. And what's the second one?
Ask your body. What's that?
What's the second one? You talked about two different pay what you want courses.
For business owners.
Boundaries for business owners.
And that one is really valuable because it breaks down all the different types of boundaries. Because for business owners, I think the ones that are really important are intellectual boundaries and emotional boundaries. And that intellectual boundaries thing is about the speculating on what we think other people think of us and making our decisions based on our speculations. Like you all up in somebody else's mental space. That's not your business. And you need to stop thinking about what other people might be thinking about you and just let them have their own intellectual experience.
Yes. So good.
So that's really important for people who are sharing things online, especially.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. Let's see. Well, there's somebody that had been posting something and I ended up just having to block them.
Yeah.
Because, because let me tell you something about me and let me tell you something about me and my block button.
Mine is hot. What about people who
block is hot? The block is hot.
What about people who are hyper independent and say no all the time? I would say not letting pleasure in. I don't need help. I don't want to let anybody help me. I don't want to relax. I can do it. No. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that hyper independence is another way to keep yourself safe.
Yeah.
Right. Because we're all, one of the things, I don't know if I said this during the intro, but all the chakras are wounded through disappointment. It's all disappointment. I wanted something and got disappointed, right? I showed up as myself and got disappointed. I embraced it with my whole heart. I got disappointed. I spoke it out and got disappointed. I believed in something higher and got disappointed, right? Like it's all based on like disappointment. And we have all of these mental gymnastics that we do to protect ourselves from disappointment. Right?
Yeah.
Somebody said been let down too often, too young. Yeah. That's the definition of trauma. Things that are too much, too fast, too early. Anything that's too much, too fast, too early can be very traumatic. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think that, again, it makes sense how we all got the way we got and how we learned to move the way we learned to move. But also,
Yeah.
do you want to go through the rest of your life limiting your possibilities because of anything that happened when you were 7? Right? It'd be like, oh, well, I learned math at a 2nd grade level, so I'm not going to learn any more math. I
Yeah.
read books at a 2nd grade level, so I'm not going to read any more books. I learned everything I needed to know about friendship in 9th grade, so I don't need to learn anything else about friendship, right? Like, we don't live like that, really. There are just kind of
Right.
certain areas where we've capped our expectations and our growth experiences. And something I deeply believe is that there's actually no such thing as who you are. There's only how you've been and what you've done, and everything else is up for negotiation. You can
Mm-hmm.
change all of it. If you decided today to like shave your head and move to Berlin and get a pocket dog, 3 weeks from now, that would just be your life. And
Yep.
like, nobody cares. Like,
Nobody
you can
cares.
really just change anything at any moment. And so even if you've been a hyper independent person who doesn't ask for any help, you could decide right now today that you are a person who is taken care of exquisitely by the people in your life, and start
Mm-hmm.
moving like that. And start asking yourself, well, what does a person who gets taken care of do? They sit the fuck down. They don't
Mm-hmm.
offer to help. They don't jump up to do it themselves.
And
Try it.
if, right, you try it, and when, right, because it's going to take time for physical reaction. I'm not going to, let me not put that contract on you. And if you get an experience in your physical reality that matches the old self-concept, right, tell yourself a new story. I reached out for help and they said no. I reached out for help and they didn't show up. It's not because everybody says no to me and nobody shows up for me and that. It's not that. Tell yourself a new story. Tell yourself a better story, right? It's, that wasn't the right person to assist me. Good to know.
The new story is that
Right.
person. You don't belong in the ecosystem of people who take care of me because you don't have the capacity to show up in that way. And that's okay. Love you, mean it. But I only surround myself with people who show up for me. And I think that, again, right, we're talking about boundaries and pleasure, and reverse boundary function are traps. A lot of people, when they function codependently, operate with reverse boundary function. I keep good things in and bad things out, by which I mean I stay in relationships that do not help me, or maybe that actively harm me, and I fight to make that person become different, versus I walk myself up out of there and I go find the people who are a match for what is right. Right. And then we're talking again about scarcity versus abundance, which is a sacral topic. It's not those people or nobody. It's those people or everyone the fuck else. But you're not meeting everyone else because you're spending all your time trying to convince these people who won't show up for you to show up for you. You are wasting your energy. You are wasting your vital life force. You are wasting your sauce. Go sprinkle it elsewhere.
It's not them. It's not them or nobody. It's them and everyone else.
If
because abundance
cannot show up for you, you can literally just be like, I will go find another person.
Yes.
Because it's not them or nothing. It's them or everyone else.
It's every other possibility. Yes. Oh, I love this. I love the practice of just being, it's never me. It's always them. It's never me. It's always them. It doesn't mean I'm wrong or they're wrong, right? It just means that someone is showing you kind of their capacity, right? Mm-hmm.
Somebody said, I'm accused of pushing people away because I let go of everyone who lets me down. I have thoughts. You want to take that one, though?
No. You might be pushing people away because you let go of everyone who lets you down. You gotta See, it's interesting because a lot of times this internet counseling culture that we have wants to boil things down to black and white kind of actions. Search your heart, right? Are you letting go of this person who lets you down in an effort to protect yourself? Right? Are you letting go of this person who let you down as this, preemptive measure to put distance between you and another human when you could actually have a conversation? Or are you letting go of this person who chronically lets you down because you figured out that they are not willing or able to do? Are you doing it from an empowered place or a wounded place? And almost every action. So one of the things that the Bible says is all things are permissible, but all things aren't beneficial. All things are permissible, just don't get brought under the power of anything. Meaning, we put all of these rules over ourselves, right? And we let them kind of control us when a lot of this is not necessarily about A yields B yields C. It's about what's the energy? What is the energetic signature? We talked about that earlier. Sarah says, I am a person who takes exquisite care of myself. I'm going to wake up in the morning. I'm going to put on really good clothes. I'm going to paint, put my face on, and I'm going to oil myself down in gray, right? I say I am a person who is acceptable however I show up. Now, I am going to get up in the morning and oil myself up. Those are the same things, right? But I may throw on whatever feels coziest on my skin, right? And I'm going to take
for me too.
that's just for you to do.
Oh yeah, I
Yes.
might get up, like my morning practice still might be like I get up and I move and I like drink my coffee and I journal and I pull some. But then when I get dressed, I still might just put on different pajamas because I have different classes of pajamas. I have like pajamas and I have lounge pajamas and I have work pajamas. And then I have outside clothes.
Right. What we're saying is, pay more attention to the energy than the action. We want to be right or wrong in the action, but it's not ever going to be one solid action, right? It's about being aligned or not, in integrity or not, in the energy, right? And then whatever action you take from that place is the correct action to take. Go ahead. Now you get a I let people go, so I get accused of pushing people away one.
No,
Yeah.
that was my beat too, is that like sometimes it's avoidance, right? Or it's an emotional immaturity of like you're not open to repair. Regular relationships experience rupture and repair, and it's hard and it's uncomfortable. And again, back to like childhood experiences, most of us were not given good examples of repair. Most of us have sweep everything under the rug families, or we have families where it's explosive or you walk on eggshells, or like if you've had to cut off family members, your cutoff game's probably real strong. So something I believe real firmly about all of us for the most part is when you're bullshitting. When you're bullshitting.
Lie to your energy. Right. Yeah. You cannot lie to your own energy.
Yeah, know when you are blustering and puffing up your chest and making up a story that this other person is like, get out of here, but you're actually just like really scared, and maybe you don't take a lot of accountability for the places that you're wrong, or you're not really open to hearing when you've hurt other people, you're not open to compromise. That could be true. But this person followed up and said, everyone gets 3 chances. We talk and then I let go. Something that I think is true is that if you are a person with a high degree of emotional intelligence, really embodied living of your own boundaries, and you don't put up with a lot of nonsense and you don't let people take advantage of you, your circle's probably going to be real small. You might have a small handful of close people, because that's a high bar. Like, yeah, we're in the personal development world. So everyone I know is working on themselves, goes to therapy, journals, gets spiritual help. But that's not most people out there. It's not what my family's like. Like, it is not what the majority of people you encounter are like. It is a very high bar of a way to conduct yourself as a human, to be that in touch with what you allow in your life and what you don't, and being willing to have those kinds of conversations. A lot of people don't receive boundaries very well because they don't have any. And so if you set a boundary with them, they take it as an attack and they get defensive and they try to fight you. And you're like, well, we can't have a close relationship because I can't set boundaries with you. And you don't take my boundaries as a desire. Like, Boundaries are a desire to stay in connection. That's what
Mm-hmm.
boundaries are.
Mm-hmm.
Boundaries are me saying, I want to stay in a relationship with you so much that I need you to know this thing about me, a thing
Yeah.
that a thing that I need you to not cross so that we can stay close. And for
Mm-hmm.
us to be in a relationship, I want you to be like, absolutely. Thank you for telling me
Yeah.
that. Here are mine. These are my no-go areas. These are my places I don't like to be touched. These are my
One of the
places I
things that One of the things that I've discovered just this week, I was having a conversation with my girlfriend, and then I was having a conversation with Source, right? Realizing and in this conversation, one of the things she said was, a lot of our suffering, right, is the distance between how somebody is showing up and how we expected them to show up, right? And they show up however they show up, which is different than our expectation. Then we have this cascade of shoulds, should have known, should have whatever. And then we go in and we set a boundary, right? You showed up how you did, and that's outside of how I like to be showed up. And so I am desperate. I would love to stay in relationship with you. So let me tell you where you crossed my line when we could. And I had this epiphany. I was like, I think the word boundaries may be not a bad word, but it may be late. By the time you get to boundaries, you might be a little late in the actual energy of what it is. Because what I think actually we are sharing are our own specifics, right? It's specific to me. My best friend Mimi uses the analogy of like the Karen feeding card in a plant. And it's like, so the reason why this came up was because I'm at my sister's house. She had to pick me up from the airport, right? And I flew here with my three children. So it's me and three kids in the airport. And so I told her what time I'd be here. I told her how long it would take to deplane. I told her all of these things. And when I got to the airport, I told her we landed. She's not answering my text. Now, please understand, my sister has like a lotus tattooed on her chest, and she works at the Art Institute, and she's my sister. She's my sister, right? So, so I finally, like, I'm calling her and calling her. I finally get her on the phone, and she's like, "Oh yes, the airport's only 30 minutes away. We're coming." And I'm thinking, I'm off the plane. Like, I'm off the plane. I've got these three kids. It was a late AF flight, right? And she's like, "Oh, it's only 30 minutes. We're coming. It's no big deal." And I'm just like, oh, she's just moving through the world, just like completely unapologetic, just oblivious to my specific, which was, I'd love for you to be punctual. It makes me feel valued. It makes me feel like you were excited about our visit. It makes me feel respected, taken care of if you're punctual coming to the airport. But she lives in Chicago, right? Waiting 30 minutes for transportation is no big deal in Chicago, right? And so the idea isn't have this experience, go to my sister and say, "I'd like to stay in a relationship with you. And so in order to stay in a relationship with me, you got to respect my time." Like, it's not that. It's not boundary. It's share what's specific to you, right? And not layer on top of it, well, adults should be on time and you should know to pick somebody up from the airport on time and you should. No, 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 no. She's having her own experience for her own set of expectations for her own care and feeding. And I'm having my own experience with my own expectations with my own care and feeding. And I need to be sharing those specifics with the people around me so that they can be excited about honoring them. What's
Yeah.
going on? Where are we going?
Well, I was going to say that I think that a lot of people say boundaries, but they actually mean requests. And that boundaries
Yes.
are boundaries if they have consequences.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, if we're talking about how we enforce boundaries or what it means to set a boundary, setting a boundary is not, "I'm going to come tell you all about yourself." And sometimes we
Right.
really want that. And that's actually righteous indignation. And that's because righteous indignation feels better than sad for most of us. I would rather be mad at you and tell you all about yourself than be like, ouch, which is my favorite
Yeah.
way of delivering if someone has trespassed a boundary. It is especially effective on men. Try it. If somebody says something you don't like or does something you don't like, you just look at them and put your hand on your heart and go, ouch. and then shut up. People are like, oh, what just happened? And you're just like, oh. And maybe you get up and you leave and you say, I really didn't like that. I gotta go. I need to like recollect my energy because that hurt my feelings. And you leave. The part where you leave is the boundary. The removal is the boundary, right? Enforcement of consequence. So, for example, when you have to deal with habitual boundary crossers that you have to keep in your life, like your mother, I have explained to my mother that there are certain topics of conversation that I do not want to engage in with her because they hurt my feelings. She does not understand. I know she doesn't understand. I love that lady, bless her heart, but she doesn't understand the boundary. So she will just start talking about that thing. It is not my job to argue with her every single time. That's going to exhaust me. That's going to take away my quality of life. So every time she does it, I go, Mom, I have a call on the other line. I got to go. And I hang up. That I told her maybe a few times, I want you to know that this topic of conversation makes me uncomfortable. So if you bring this up with me, I'm going to exit the conversation. I've told her the boundary. I have told her the consequence of crossing the boundary. That's all I can do. And now all I can do is enforce it every time.
The only difference I would say is I would tell my mama the truth. Which was, Mama, I said I don't want to talk about that, so now I need to go. And then we're going. We're done at that point. But I love what you're saying. I think we need to we have a lot of thought about boundaries, right? Yeah. I think we have gotten really good at saying to ourselves, if they cross my boundary, I will go. But we aren't as good at the very sacral skill, right, of making the request, of saying, this is what, and you know, one of the reels I posted was, I said, you got to be needy sooner, right? We have gotten good at saying, this is what I need. We've even gotten to that place in our healing, but we've not necessarily gotten that great at saying, but this is what I sacral desire. This is just my preference. Here's what I prefer, right? Here's how
good if.
It would make me feel so good if, right? Oh, I'm so delighted when right? Saying those things, I guarantee 99% of, not your mama, but the people who really don't feel entitled necessarily, who feel excited and privileged to be in a relationship with you, 99% of the boundaries you have to set with them would be gone if you were just giving them that kind of feedback, making those kind of requests. And I don't prefer, right? I don't prefer this thing.
Well, and also, you model those preferences in the way that you treat yourself.
Oh, yeah.
People see and pick up on the way you treat yourself, the way that you carry yourself, the way you take care of yourself. They are clocking what you will and won't accept by how you be with you.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. What the energy of yes is and the energy of no is in your aura, really, right?
Yeah.
In your vibe. People can feel that.
In the way you show up. Absolutely.
Without you saying a word. One of the things that Source said just now, this is very specific, but this is for the 3 strikes person. Source said, how do you know it's the 3rd strike?
Woo.
Source just said, if you are a person who thinks that you are in this rupture repair cycle, you're truly repairing with people, and you said, I'm going to tell them 3 times, they got 3 strikes and then they're out, then at the 1st strike, it's very likely that you're already partially out, that your energy is not still all the way in, right? And so that keeping score now is an energy and almost a petition toward do it again, right? Because the universe doesn't understand no. The universe only understands attention. So once the thing has happened once and you say, that's happened once, I'm only going to let it happen 3 times. Now you have your attention on it happen, right? Instead of fully releasing it. So you're literally calling it back into your reality so that you can get through your count, which is in alignment with your expectations. Okay, let that go. It just came out. I'm a channel. It just came out. Blame source, not me. Okay, that feels so good. We both took what a beautiful deep breath. And it's 8:31. Do you feel how we both felt, how complete we are? Okay. Tell people how to find you, where you're at, what your stuff is.
Yeah.
This has been so good.
I'm here on Instagram at Intuitive Edge Coaching. And I guess just to kind of like pull back to the sacral one last time with the idea of what an intuitive edge is, because I named my business that really deliberately. If you are not in touch with your desires and your boundaries, you are not fully in touch with your intuition, because you're not allowing yourself to fully hear your intuitive nudges or your pings. You will probably try to talk yourself out of them, right? I'm getting the intuitive hit that I should go this way and do this thing, but I can't have that, but I can't want that, but that's not for me, right? So if you are a person who considers yourself to be an intuitive, wants to be an intuitive, wants to develop your intuitive gifts, this thing about your relationships with pleasure and boundaries is going to be a really important part of that work. I'm Instagram at Intuitive Edge Coaching. My website is intuitiveedgecoaching.com, but don't go there. It's out of date and I'm about to update it and it's all old. If you are in business, I have a new program that's coming out that's called Sacral Sales, that is all about teaching sales through the language of pleasure and consent. That's going to be really, really fun. And I have those two programs. Art of Saying Yes Less is for everybody. It's not business specific at all, and you can have it for $1. And Boundaries for Business Owners, you can also have it for $1. And you can just DM me if you want those. I'm not sure if they're in the link in my bio. They might be, but I would love to give you those if you feel like that is an area that you need more help. I am a recovered codependent and have spent a lot of my life working on my boundaries. So this teaching comes from a deep place.
Oh, I love it so much. Yay! This is so amazing. I have been waiting for like a month for people to just hear you speak and get to know you, and I'm so excited. I love you. Deep, big, yummy, wonderful. I actually just hired Sarah to take me through a 90-day, I don't know, she's going to put me in the dryer and I'm going to come out as a woman who takes exquisite care of her business. Which I love so much.
Crystal's mad at me when she works with me. She likes me here.
What? I'm never mad at you. I'm never mad at you. I'm just direct to neurodivergent. So there you go. No, I've loved it so much. But yes. So visit Sarah at Intuitive Edge Coaching, and y'all send her a DM and buy her stuff and so much stuff. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. And I think I wasn't sure if I was going to do one last live, but I think I'm going to do one last live next week so we can kind of wrap up this series. It has been so good. It has been better than shit people are paying for. It's just been so, so good. So we might figure out a way to kind of package it and let it be something very low cost that people can refer back to over and over and over again. But yay. Thank you so much. You're the best. I love you.
Love you. Bye, everybody.
Okay. Bye.
That's our episode for today. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this. I know there are so many things that you could be doing with your day, so many things you could be listening to, and it means so much that you are here in this community. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment, share it on social media, and tag me at Intuitive Edge Coaching. Share it with a biz bestie who you think needs to hear it and will appreciate it. And take a moment to to subscribe, and to leave a 5-star review wherever you are listening. It helps me grow this show, and it helps us grow and sustain this brilliant community of entrepreneurs dedicated to doing the inner work. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, love you. Bye.